Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving deep into elite executive function today, specifically looking at leaders in those really high-pressure fields like global security and compliance.
Right. And our sources, they're not just giving us, a job description. It feels more like a genuine playbook.
Exactly. A playbook for how top directors manage the chaos, how they multiply their impact, and, well, how they actually lead.
And that's the core point, isn't it? The role itself, it's fundamentally changed. It's moved way beyond just operational oversight, just keeping the lights on,
Less managing the present.
and much more architecting the future.
Yeah.
They're envisioning, building, defending the whole landscape
Right.
for their area. Strategic architecture.
Okay, strategic architecture. That's what we need to decode them. So our mission here is to really distill the key frameworks you need so you can understand how these elite leaders handle their time, their attention, and build that genuine resilience in their organizations.
Mhm.
Let's start right there with that big shift from just oversight to foresight.
Yeah, foresight. That's the heart of strategic leadership, according to this playbook.
Mhm.
It means defining a clear, compelling direction, and then making sure every resource, every dollar, every person hour lines up behind that long-term vision.
We hear high trust, inclusive culture a lot, though. Sometimes it feels a bit like, buzzword bingo.
Ah, yeah, it can sound like that.
But what does it look like in practice? What are these directors actually doing day to day to build that trust? Because the sources insist it's absolutely foundational.
It really boils down to constantly reinforcing psychological safety. Simple as that, but hard to do.
Meaning?
Meaning if your teams don't feel safe, they won't flag problems early, they won't challenge assumptions, even bad ones. And they definitely won't commit fully to strategic goals, which often feel kind of ambiguous at first.
Okay.
And another key thing, the best leaders, they don't just dictate the vision, they build it with their people. It's a shared view.
Co-created.
Exactly. And then critically, it needs to be written down, documented, and communicated relentlessly. That's your North Star.
And tied to that North Star, there's this shift in motivation too, right? I saw that Harvard Business Publishing study mentioned. Connecting people to the purpose, the why, being the top leadership skill.
Huge shift. And incredibly effective. When leaders really hammer home the meaning behind the work, you move past just talking about what's needs doing or how to do it.
It goes deeper.
Much deeper. It taps into a level of commitment, of engagement, and resilience, frankly.
Yeah.
That just following procedures can never achieve. It is the difference between just, clocking in and genuinely caring.
Okay, so foundation laid, trust, clear purpose. How do you actually bridge the gap then from those big ideas to, well, getting stuff done? How do you make it tangible?
Right. This is where the discipline really has to kick in. An elite strategy isn't some static binder on a shelf.
Oh,
No, it's alive. It's a framework that needs constant information flow up, down, across the organization. It demands a really methodical approach to turn those aspirations into things you can actually measure.
methodical, like starting with core objectives. And they have to be smart, I gather.
Absolutely smart. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, no fuzziness allowed.
So not just get better at security.
Definitely not. More like cut the average time to fix critical vulnerabilities down to 72 hours by the end of Q4, something concrete. And crucially, that needs consensus from the leadership team, not just one person's idea.
Got it. What's next in the method?
Then comes a really rigorous situational analysis. You got to be pretty honest here, using something like SWOT.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats.
Right. But not just as a checklist. It's a diagnostic. Strengths and weaknesses are internal, what you control. Opportunities and threats are external market stuff, competitor moves, regulations.
And that helps decide where to put resources.
Precisely. It informs how you allocate budget, people, focus. After that, you define your competitive positioning. What makes your team or function unique? How are you adding value? Is it quality, cost-effectiveness, speed?
You need to know your edge.
You do. And then the vital signs for the whole strategy, your KPIs, key performance indicators.
These are the metrics that tell you if it's working.
Exactly. Things like maybe revenue growth if you're business aligned, or reduction in major security incidents, maybe faster audit completions. They're your early warning system. They let you spot trouble and adjust the plan before things go way off track.
Okay, and the final piece, making it happen.
Action plans. This is the bridge to execution. You break down the big strategy into concrete projects. Clear owners, defined scope, milestones, deadlines. This is where the rubber meets the road.
What really struck me about this whole process is how it changes the director's own definition of success. There was that quote, something like, I don't have tangible deliverables anymore. My only job is to help others get their jobs done.
That quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's the perfect summary. The elite director stops being primarily a doer,
And becomes.
a force multiplier. Their main function is enabling the organization, removing roadblocks, securing budgets, managing those critical relationships upwards and sideways, basically clearing the path so their teams can execute and win.
So if the director's main job is enabling others, they absolutely have to master their own time and attention, right? Their own operational tempo.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about the calendar not just as a schedule, but as a strategic weapon in the battle for focus.
Because the reality of that job is constant demands.
Constant engagement, communication, influence. It's just not a role for locking yourself away for hours of deep work.
Yeah.
So managing that tempo needs frameworks like the 80-20 rule, Pareto.
Right. Focus on the 20% of activities that give you 80% of the results. High leverage stuff.
Exactly. Zeroing in on what truly moves the needle. And that leads straight into using something like the Eisenhower Matrix.
Urgent versus important.
Yes. Categorizing tasks. But the strategic aim isn't just fighting fires, putting out the urgent stuff.
It's about carving out time for the important, non-urgent quadrant.
That's the goal. Spending the vast majority of your time there. That's where the real strategic work happens. Planning, building relationships, mentoring your people, thinking about the future.
And they protect that time, like really protect it.
Aggressively. We're talking time blocking. Scheduling recurring slots just for strategic thinking and treating those blocks like a meeting of the CEO. Non-negotiable.
Which brings us to something I find incredibly hard personally. Saying no.
It sounds simple, but it takes huge discipline, right?
Yeah. Turning down requests, even good-intentioned ones.
It takes guts, but it's crucial. Because saying no sends a really clear signal across the organization about what actually matters. The sources put it starkly.
Yeah.
Every yes to something low value is basically a no to something high value and strategic.
That's a powerful way to think about it. And to scale their impact beyond just their own time, there's delegation, strategic delegation.
Right. We said the director's a force multiplier. So delegation isn't just, dumping tasks you don't want to do.
That's about development.
Yes, it's a core strategy for building talent quickly. But effective delegation means handing over not just the task, but the full authority and responsibility for the outcome.
Authority and responsibility. Both.
Both. And here's the hard part for many leaders. You have to resist the urge to micromanage how they do it. Delegate the result you need, but let them figure out the method. That builds ownership, critical thinking. It's essential for scaling leadership.
Okay, so delegation scales the people side. What about scaling the decision-making itself?
Let's talk technology, automation, and AI. How are they becoming like the nervous system for strategy?
Yeah, it's becoming central. You see systematic use of things like RPA, robotic process automation, and BPM, business process management tools.
To do what? Exactly.
To kill off the manual, repetitive tasks that drag executives down. Think about automating how customized performance reports get sent out, or streamlining approvals for contracts or big purchases, or even just syncing up data from different systems into one dashboard, a single source of truth.
That sounds useful, but maybe incremental. Is AI doing something more transformative?
Oh, definitely. AI as a strategic co-pilot, that's the game changer. It shifts decision-making away from just gut feel based on old reports.
Towards being guided by real-time predictive insights. AI can analyze vast amounts of data incredibly quickly and spot patterns humans would miss.
How does that actually work? Are there levels to it?
Yeah, you can think of it in maybe 3 stages.
Yeah.
First is decision support. AI provides data, maybe flags things, but the human makes the call.
Okay.
Then decision augmentation. This is where AI gets more powerful. It might generate different scenarios, forecast the likely outcomes of different choices. It's like having a super analyst team on tap.
Helping you weigh options.
Exactly. And finally, decision automation. This is usually for more routine, low-risk, high-volume decisions where the rules are clear. You let the AI handle it.
Okay, but here's a stat that really jumped out at me, that PwC survey. 67% of executives trusting AI recommendations more than their own teams.
Yeah, 67%.
That sounds alarming, especially after we just talked about building high-trust cultures with people. How do leaders square that circle, relying so heavily on AI while keeping human teams engaged and trusted?
It's a massive tension, and it points straight to the critical governance risk. Over-reliance is dangerous. It fundamentally reshapes the leader's role.
How so?
They're shifting from being the main decision maker to becoming the chief decision architect.
Decision architect.
Yeah, Their job isn't necessarily to make every single call anymore. It's to design, oversee, and set the ethical boundaries for these intelligent systems, to ensure the AI aligns with the strategy and values. They build the smart guardrails.
Building the guardrails. Okay, that feels like a good transition into the real pressure cooker situations, the specialized roles, the mental models needed when things go wrong. Let's talk about the global BISO first, the Business Information Security Officer.
Like the BISO, described in the sources as a strategic linchpin, a diplomat, a translator. Really crucial role.
Translator between
Between the technical security teams and the actual business units. Their core job is translation, taking complex technical risks and explaining the business impact, potential reputation damage, lost customers, revenue hits, and then translating business needs back to the security folks so they understand the context.
And success for them isn't about technical chops alone.
Not primarily.
Yeah.
The sources really stress this. They operate almost entirely by influence, not direct command. They often don't have formal authority over the business units they support.
So trust and business understanding are key.
Absolutely critical. More important than deep technical expertise, often.
We see a similar high-stakes profile with the compliance director, right? Guardian of trust.
Definitely. Navigating that incredibly complex web of regulations, GDPR, ISO 27001, you name it, and managing the entire audit process. Getting ready, gathering evidence, fixing what's found, huge responsibility.
So for these roles, BISO, compliance, when a crisis hits, an incident happens, structured thinking is paramount. What mental models help them stay clear under pressure?
The OODA loop comes up a lot. Observe, orient, decide, act. Especially vital in fast-moving situations like cyber attacks.
Observe, orient, decide, act. OODA.
Yeah. And the really fascinating insight here is that the orient step is the most critical and the hardest.
Orient. Making sense of it all.
Exactly. Making sense of incomplete, often conflicting, confusing information quickly. The leader's job in that moment is to battle their own cognitive biases, filter the noise, find the signal, and do it faster than the adversary or the situation spirals. Speed of orientation is key.
And how do they prepare for those moments before the crisis hits? Proactive analysis.
Yes, using tools to anticipate problems.
Yeah.
I really like the pre-mortem concept they mentioned.
Where you assume total failure.
Right. Assume the project or the defense failed spectacularly. Then work backward. What could have caused that? It forces you to uncover hidden risks and assumptions.
Powerful. Is there a positive version?
Yep. The pre-parade, assume it was a wild success. Now, how did we get there?
Right.
Reverse engineer the path to that amazing outcome. Both exercises really push you to think differently.
And there's one more discipline mentioned, second-order thinking.
Ah, yes. Crucial. It's the discipline of thinking past the immediate effect of a decision. Asking, and then what?
The ripple effects.
Precisely. The cascading consequences. Like, okay, the first-order effect of blocking some unapproved app might seem good, improve security.
Right.
But the second-order effect, if you didn't provide a good alternative, might be your employees finding an even less secure workaround out of frustration. The elite leader always tries to see those downstream impacts.
And managing all these consequences, plus all the internal politics, involves careful stakeholder management, right? That influence interest matrix.
Yeah, that's a practical tool for tailoring communication.
Yeah.
You need to know who has high influence versus low influence, high interest versus low interest.
So, for example, a high influence but maybe low interest CFO. How do you handle that?
You keep satisfied. You give them high-level, high-impact updates focused purely on the business outcomes. You translate the risk, cyber, compliance, whatever, into their language. Customer trust, revenue, operational stability. No deep technical dives.
Got it. Okay, let's try and pull all these threads together. We've journeyed from strategic vision and trust through disciplined execution and time management to leveraging tech and preparing for crises. It all seems to point towards resilience.
It does. And the synthesis, the big takeaway from this whole playbook, really lands on one core truth about resilience.
Which is?
It's not about preventing every single attack. That's impossible. And it's not some product you can just buy off the shelf. A defense based purely on technology is brittle. It will eventually break.
So true resilience is?
True resilience is an emergent property of the culture.
Emergent property, meaning it arises from the interactions.
Exactly. It lives in people who are aware and trained. It lives in teams or across different functions who've actually practiced responding together under simulated stress. It's baked into the organizational DNA, where everyone feels a sense of shared responsibility for security and compliance.
Culture is the ultimate defense.
At the end of the day, yes.
Yeah.
Which leaves us with maybe one final thought for you, the listener, to mull over.
Go on.
In a real crisis, the absolute worst thing you can do, the cardinal sin, is often inaction, just freezing, waiting until you have all the information, perfect clarity, which never comes.
Right. You have to move with ambiguity.
You have to. The elite leader isn't optimized for always having the perfect answer right away. They're optimized for accelerating the speed and quality of their orientation, making sense of the chaos when faced with uncertainty.
So your most fundamental job, the most enduring responsibility as a leader in these fields, it comes back to being a culture builder. Embedding that awareness, that shared responsibility, deep into your organization's DNA.
That's the long game.
Makes you think. What are you building into your own culture this week?